welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Janika, and today we are going to be discussing The Bachelor. I know I'm a little behind here on this, but I'm still going to get it to you before the episode comes out. So, yes, this is what we're talking about, but before we do, let's do some hot goss. So I think a lot of people have been curious as to why Lauren and Cameron weren't on the episode for the reunion of Love is Blind. Well, this is what they had to say. Cameron went on to his Instagram and he said, "First, let me just say I love the Love is Blind franchise. That's how I met my wife. I really appreciate that opportunity so much. It's given me this wonderful platform and I'll be forever grateful for that." He added, "Any rumor that I don't like Love is Blind, Netflix, or Kinetic is not true." He said that both him and Lauren were invited to the season 6 reunion, and they unfortunately had to respectfully decline as they were already booked for something else for that day. So he went on to say that he had only watched a few episodes of season 6, so it wouldn't have been maybe really beneficial for him to be on the reunion. But he said that he wasn't motivated to keep watching. He said that, no hate to the current cast. He said I just wasn't into this season. I didn't find those couples that I wanted to root for. I supported it for the last 4 years, doing press, doing hosting, other activations, and I've been very happy to do that. He discussed the current season. I had felt like it's been all about the memes and it's the one-liners. It's all the drama, the mess, which is true, but this is what we love, Cameron. So anyways, for Cameron, he wanted to see people who genuinely wanted to get married. He said, "I didn't hear anything about the one couple, Johnny and Amy," which is true because they were just so goddamn happy, and that's not what people want. We want the drama. Like, we do want someone to be happy, and we all love Amy and Johnny, but we also want drama. So he said it was all about everyone else, which is true, it was. He concluded with, "For Lauren and I, Love is Blind was just the beginning of our story, and we're working on so many wonderful projects together. I'm grateful to have a partner that I can work with. It's truly a blessing, and thank you for supporting us for the last 4 years. It really means the world to me." So that's what he had to say. He does also say that he will be watching the next season. He's still open to it, so we'll see how that goes. How did he get through season 5? I'm just saying. Anyways, before we also move on to the next hot goss, I do want to make a correction. For some reason, in the last episode that I did, which I can't remember what that was now, but the last episode I did where I was doing some hot goss in the beginning, I talked about lace. For some reason, I kept saying Love in Paradise or Love is Blind. I guess that's just, but I want to clarify it was Bachelor in Paradise, and that's what I meant to say, not Love is Blind or Love in Paradise. But yes, that's that. So let's move on to the next piece of hot goss. We have a new baby and a 90-day family, and that is a third baby for Kobe and Emily. So they welcomed their third child on Friday, March 15th at 3:34 p.m. And of course, I do have some gorgeous pictures of the new baby and Kobe and Emily, so I will post those. The couple's son is named E10. He's weighed at 10 pounds and 2 ounces. My God. Give her a medal. Jesus. Mom and dad couldn't be more thrilled, obviously. Emily shared, "Kobe and I are so excited to share. We welcomed a beautiful, healthy baby boy to our family. Our hearts are overflowing with love and watching Kobe and Scarlett love on their new baby brother, E10." So New mom also added, well, new mom 3 also added, he's the perfect addition to our family, and we are so excited for this new journey as a family of now 5. So that's that. So congratulations to Emily and Kobe on baby number 3. Good job, Emily, for pushing out 10 pounds. I can't. But that could end up being my reality one day. But anyways, there it is. I hope you're doing well. I hope baby's doing well. And it's great. But let's move on to the next piece of hot goss. But I do want to stress this is a trigger warning for domestic violence. So please look down at the show notes for when to skip past this. We'll be going into the recap after this. So if you want to skip this, by all means, I understand. But this is involving domestic violence. So, starting now. Selling Sunset star, or no longer with Selling Sunset, Christine Quinn's husband, Christian Dumontet, I think is how you say his name. He was arrested on Tuesday following a domestic incident involving his wife and his child. The Los Angeles Police Department confirmed to EW that Dumontet, who also goes as Christian Richard, which is really weird, has been booked on a charge of assault with a deadly weapon after allegedly harming a toddler with a glass bottle. Officers arrived at the scene after responding to a domestic dispute in Hollywood Hills on March 19th at approximately 2 p.m. The suspect threw a bag containing a glass bottle at the victim, meaning Christine, missed her, but ended up hitting the victim's child, causing injury. And this was said by a public information officer, and this was alleged in the statement. The child was subsequently transported to the ER in an ambulance. TMZ was the first to break the news in a report that included photos of Dumontet's arrest, where he is seen being led out of the couple's home, handcuffed in only a bathrobe. A source told the outlet that the child involved in Quinn's 2-year-old son, Christian Georges Dumontet, whom she shares with her husband, as we know. A rep for Quinn declined to comment. But that's basically it. Trigger warning will be also over here. I hope that she doesn't stay with him, because, I mean, in my mind's eye, you can do whatever the hell you want to me. The second you then hurt my child, I don't care who the fuck you are, all bets are fucking off and all gloves are off. Seriously. But something tells me this is not the first time, and this is just the one time that it went probably too far and hurt someone else, and that being their 2-year-old child. But I hope she's okay. She honestly seems like a really great person outside of the show. I know she was on, there was Masked Singer she was on a couple of seasons ago. She seems like someone who was kind of misunderstood, honestly. I don't hate Christine Quinn. She wasn't necessarily my favorite on the show, but I think outside of it, she seems to be a really great person. She seemed to really want to be a mom. I know we didn't really see much of her after giving birth, but, you know, I hope she's okay. I hope her son's okay. And I hope he gets everything that's coming to him. I really do. Her husband. So that's it. Trigger warning's over. But let's head into the reason that we are here. The Bachelor Season 28 episode. I didn't catch the number of the episode. Women Tell All. So, at one point, there's going to be a little difficult for me to make sure I caught everything, just because it was a mess, and we'll get to it, but bear with me. So, I said that Cindy actually looks really great. I think everyone on the stage looked great. We got some of our favorite golden women here. We saw Susan, we saw Kathy, we saw Leslie, we saw Sandra. So we have some, and I thought, I thought for sure we were going to find out who was gonna be the Bachelorette and maybe even the Golden Bachelorette. But I guess we have to wait on that one. I imagine maybe we'll find out during the final rose. We'll see the after the final rose. So I guess we'll find out. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But we can still do our predictions, and I'll wait till the end of the episode. We'll do our predictions. Um, so we will do that. But we are definitely going to be finding out, Jesse tells us, what is going on with Kelsey. First thing that we do is let's go to Jolie Mania and go to these watch parties, which I preferably for me when it comes to the scene, because they always do this, and every women tell all or tell all in general, they always do this. I feel I feels better to me, I don't know about anybody else, when the watch party drop-ins are authentic, they don't expect it, and they're shocked when it happens. This felt curated. It felt like they knew that he was coming. Just didn't know when he was coming, but that he was coming. And I don't like that. I like the authenticity of them just not necessarily hoping, because obviously these people sign up for this and hope and pray that they'll show up. But it kind of felt like they knew ahead of time. And I don't like that. But it still was funny. I loved when he gives the rose to the dog. It was cute. It was, whatever. Nothing to really go home about, but I did like it. So I'm hoping I didn't catch, I don't think I caught everybody's name here, but we pretty much have everybody. So we have Lauren, Allison, Edwina, Star, Evelyn. Did I write Taylor? Who's Taylor? I don't know who that is. Anyway, Caitlin, Autumn, Kelsey T, Leia, Cindy, Jess, Medina, Lexi, Jen, and Maria. And the reception for Maria, if she does not become the Bachelorette, that would have, y'all fucked up. If you want people to keep up with the ratings that Joey has given the Bachelor this time around, you need to have Maria as your Bachelorette. There's no other choice. There's no other choice. Maybe Daisy, but I don't know. I love Daisy. I love her story, but I do understand when people say she's boring. I do get that because I just don't know if she'd be able to, I don't know if she's necessarily, I don't know if boring is the right term word to use, but I don't know if she'd be able to hold an entire season in the way Maria could. So it would be horribly, horrible disservice if Maria does not become Bachelorette. If she wants it, of course, but yeah. Then we do the flashbacks. Obviously, we got some flashbacks to some of this shit, and we're gonna just be jumping into that. So everyone, because we do see, obviously Leia burning the her advantage, and everyone says we would have kept the card, and that's what they were saying then too. But this is a little different because in the flashback, Leia is heard being said, which I didn't remember this, but my God, she literally says like how she is a girl's girl. How the fuck can you be a girl's girl and treat women the way she did? All because her best friend didn't stay. You know what I mean? So we're going to get to that. Maria tells her, listen, we all respect you for burning the card. We get it. But acting like it was for us is where the problem lies. Because it wasn't about us. They accuse her of, displaying fake tears. They said like in the moment they believed her, but watching it back and watch it the whole season back, they believe that it was all an act. And you know what? I kind of agree. I was in it initially because I'm like, I love her. I feel like I believe her. And then watching that back with everything else that we now know about her in the season, I'm just like, you're a fake ass bitch. And I mean, I don't know, man. I do think maybe it was, I do think now, looking back, she's clearly learned she's not that great of a person in that moment. And maybe she needs to do some self reflection. So I can believe her maybe in this moment, but then, I don't know, something was up. So they kind of say, like, it kind of shows that you're being fake when you're talking about being a girl's girl, but then talking shit about people behind their back at the same time, which is true. You're not a girl's girl if you're going to talk shit. Then we talk about Medina and Leah's conversation after Sydney left. And she's saying how she felt that Leah was telling her how to act, which is true. She was. All of a sudden, Autumn comes out of nowhere and says, well, how can she be like treating you like that? Like, how do you know? Like, Autumn, number one, you weren't there. We all watched the same thing. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. But we were all there. And, I'm sorry, you were not there in the moment when this was happening. Leah is trying to tell her how she should act because she thinks in her mind, you're being fake because you said that Cindy's one of your best friends, but then you're befriending Maria as if we're in high school. You can't be friends with the person's enemy because you're friends with that person. Like, it doesn't make sense. And the thing is Leah's closer in from high school than Medina is, so maybe over time Leah can learn. But it's just like, are you kidding? So Autumn, shut the fuck up. You can't have a say in this when you weren't a part of it. She wasn't even really a part of the drama. So I just don't understand where this came from. And the fact that she interrupts Medina and saying how she felt in the moment is also disrespectful. Don't do that. Let her talk. And I'm going to keep the same energy on Maria too, because when Jess is trying to talk about how she feels, Maria does the same thing and interrupts her after she literally says all she would do is interrupt me. That's not okay either. I do think Maria is always at 100. I do wonder if maybe she has ADHD or something like that. Like something. Like, she's always at 100. And so I think that maybe she can't even help herself because she needs to kind of talk the points out of her mind at the moment. But it still doesn't excuse, like, let her finish because she let you. But I'm going to keep that same energy. So we'll get that out of the way here. So Autumn, please don't let Medina talk because everything she was saying was valid. 100%. So yeah, I didn't like that. Everyone to Medina's defense is like, do we need to roll the goddamn tape? Because it's right there. Leia was trying to tell her how to act. Nah, anyways, Medina basically says to her, you owe me an apology for how you acted. And Leia says, I am sorry that I made you feel that way. That's not an apology. But anyways, let's continue. But then you also went to Maria telling her we should all be mean to her, which again is not an apology because you're saying, I'm sorry, this, but. And she's like, I never said that. You didn't have to outwardly say we should be hating on Maria because Cindy did. You're not outwardly saying that, but you are ultimately saying that. That's what you want her to do. And Maria says, definitely what you were trying to do and what you were saying. Like, what the fuck were you saying? And she says this thing that was really, really sad. And kind of just shows kind of maybe where she was at too. She says, I walked into that quietest room after the 2-on-1. No one was happy for me being back. And Medina was the only person who told me, you look beautiful. She was the only person. So that just kind of goes to show, and I think, I don't want to forget this, I'm going to say it now. At some point, we're kind of talking about bullying and how someone felt bullied. and whatever. I can't remember who it was, if it was Jess or somebody else, but someone says, you talk about bullying, yet Maria was the one who was being bullied by everybody else in the moment. And for fucking what? And for fucking what? And the thing that drives me nuts about this tell actually is that never once did Cindy say, I got it so horribly wrong because you were talking shit about her. I misconstrued what you said. Not one fucking time did Cindy say that. And not one time was that asked of her, Jesse. Or whoever may be in his ear telling him what to say. That angered me a little bit because I'm just like, not once did you say that. I mean, yes, you have Maria, and we do know, obviously, that Maria didn't say anything that constituted her talking shit. But not once did Cindy say, obviously watching it back, that I got it so horribly wrong. And we're going to see not only that, but we're also going to get a conclusion on another thing that Cindy accused her of, and we'll get to that in a bit too. Then when it comes to we're there now. When it comes to the whole shut the fuck up situation of it all, and Maria obviously said, I didn't say that. Lauren says, out of nowhere, of course you didn't say it because I did. I'm the one that told her to shut the fuck up, not you. Lauren is the one that said it. So are we basically trying to say because both Lauren and Maria kind of look similar that you just think it was Maria and not Lauren because Lauren wasn't there at that point? So let's pin it on Maria. You fucking bitch is what I want to say. Because I think she knew it was Lauren who said it and was trying to put it on Maria. I 100% think that. Either that or Leah told Cindy that it was Maria, went all and told she knew it wasn't and it was Lauren. Either way, someone's fucking lying. And she says that I said that to her because she was being condescending to me. She was telling me to how to act and whatever. And I didn't appreciate that. And I wonder if this was probably because after the wedding date situation and how Lauren got very activated after that, if that's what that's what she was talking about. And that's not something someone needs to hear in the moment. That's no different than a man telling you to relax when you're mad. That's not something someone needs to hear in the moment. She's upset. She is activated. She is thinking about the fact that I will never have my father walk me down the aisle. It hadn't even been a year since he passed at that time. Ma'am, maybe just stay in your lane. And she said, I just felt gaslit in the moment. So, oh, sorry, no, sorry, let me rephrase. I got that wrong. Leia's well, I just don't want to feel gaslit. What? Leia, who's gaslighting you? You're gaslighting Maria. You and Cindy. So it's funny that she uses the term gaslight or gaslit when she was the one who was gaslighting Maria. It's fucking funny, man. But we go to break. We do say Leia walked away and she's crying. And I guess it was Jess who went to kind of comfort her and whatever. And kind of says, don't let this get to you, whatever. And she comes back on stage and Maria tells Cindy, she tells Leia, I wrote Cindy for some reason, she tells Leia that it is okay. And she actually goes over and she hugs her. So I don't know if maybe they've squashed a lot of their differences outside of this, but obviously having it all brought back up again, but I thought that was really sweet of Maria. We're going to see another sweet moment with Maria, in a little while, but I thought this was really sweet of her. So Medina says, I have this insecurity about her age, obviously dating someone who was a little younger than her, that I wanted to be open with. And she feels like that insecurity had been blown up into something that it just didn't need to be. And she said she felt backed into a corner with one side, Maria coming to her, wanting to know who said it. And on the other side, Cindy saying, don't tell anyone, which I do remember. In the moment, I'm like, she did, but she did. We did see her actually say that to Medina, which again, this kind of went to show. And you saw Cindy's face too when she said that. She's like, shit. But I think with this, it just kind of goes to show that my girl knew what she was doing was wrong. And that she was creating something out of nothing. I think she did know that, because in many times in the past, we've seen people say things about someone and not give a shit if they know the other person knows they're saying something. This is the first time in a while that we've seen someone actually say, don't say it's me, when, you know, it went horribly wrong and completely backfired in her face. So Star, here's Star that we barely ever seen, says, I wish you had gotten in the middle. Medina, she's saying it's Medina. I wish that she got in the middle so that she could have shut it down. Medina's kind of says to her, I can't control Maria and I can't control Cindy, which is true. In hindsight, she couldn't have controlled either or. They're still going to do what they're going to do. But maybe if she did, instead of actually adding fuel to the fire, because she actually added fuel to the fire by telling Joey anything, because that is what started the issues. Went from there. Maybe if she did, even if it was, maybe if it didn't even help, at least she could have tried. She didn't even try. So this kind of saying, like, I can't control either or, that's true, but you could have tried to control either or at least control the situation. And she didn't. And everyone out there in the audience clapping their hands at Medina's answer, you're all incorrect. This started with Medina, innocently, mind you, but this started with Medina. Medina had the control to stop it, and she didn't. And I'm sorry, but I agree with Star on this. I really do. Because I think that's one of the things I said. Can Medina say something, like do something, help the situation, at least say, can we end this at the very least? Before it blew up to what it was, she didn't. So I do agree with Star on that. Cindy says that I just got into the middle of it to stick up for a friend. But we all call bullshit on that. And not only we call bullshit on that, so does Edwina. Because Edwina says, bitch, no, it had nothing to do with her being your friend. It had nothing to do with the whole age of it all. It had everything to do with the fact that you just didn't like Maria from day one. And Jess, out of fucking nowhere, and I loved this, Jess is like, why do you think that though, Edwina? Like, why would you think that she didn't like her? And Edwina's like, I fucking watched her. I saw the way she acted or how she talked to Maria before all of this happened. So that's where it's coming from. So don't sit here and try to tell me to stop feeling what I'm feeling or stop saying what I'm saying. And I swear she called her a bitch. Don't know for sure, but she said something, either bitch or fuck or shit or something like that. But she cussed. Don't fucking come. She's right. Edwina said that from moment one. When all of this happened, she didn't say it to Maria. She didn't say it to Sydney, but she said it in the moment. So she said that. So Jess, shut the fuck up, because you're no better than the rest of these three. And that is one thing Maria actually mentions too. He's like, it's great placement for you three to be where the fuck you are, because you three are the reason that my time was hell. So yeah, as Sydney says that we just communicate differently. You know, we have different communication styles. That's what Cindy says. And Maria says, yeah, I speak the truth and you speak lies. I love that. Make that a meme, everybody. Anyways. Now, let's talk about the Jess thing. about everything that kind of happened with Jess. Jess says that being in the house with Maria would kind of tell her, to zip it, Kathy, a la Kathy, and shut up and stuff like that. Like she would basically, Jess is trying to say she felt silenced by Maria a lot of the time. This is a little difficult again because Maria kind of cuts in with this. And Maria says, yeah, I didn't tell you to zip it, a la Kathy. Maria says that I can be so supportive on the one hand and yet still be called a bitch the same night. Medina says that I think maybe it could be just the delivery, and everyone agrees on, with or can vie with the same type of delivery. And Lexi says, is it the delivery or is it just that she has a different opinion from your friend group? I loved that. I loved it. Okay, so we're going to take a pause here. And then we'll kind of head into everyone who goes into the hot seat, Joey and all of that. So we'll take a quick break here. And when we come back, we will finish it up. Have you ever wanted to guest on a podcast like this one that you're listening to right now? Well, you can. You can definitely do this by visiting a website called Podmatch, where you can sign up and be available for all different types of podcasts that you can guest on. Or you can even search for a podcast and say, I want to guest on your podcast. I think we'd be a good match. So if you want to do this, you can go to our unique link, which is joinpodmatch.com/reality, and you can sign up and do exactly that. And you can find us and you can guest on our podcast. So again, that unique link is www.joinpodmatch.com. That's joinpodmatch.com/reality, REALITEA, and you can be a guest on our podcast. And we are back. So let's do the first person in the hot seat, which is Lexi. So she knew leaving would be the best decision for her and him. And she said, how he handled it was amazing. He apparently told her he wanted to have like a toolkit. So whenever she would have pain or flare up, that he would be able to help her. And I thought that was so sweet. He really is probably one of my favorite bachelors in a really long time. And I'm happy he just didn't disappoint me, because the last guy that I really, really liked, which I think was Clayton, I really liked him, he disappointed me. So, Juan Pablo, really liked him too. He disappointed me. So he's the first one that I really, really liked who didn't disappoint me. So I love him. He's great. So Susan is in the audience, emotional, and she's saying that she's so strong, and I love Susan. But yeah, that isn't a whole lot there. But you know what, guys, since we are talking about her, I do have a piece of hot goss that I might as well just talk to you about now, since we're talking about her. So let's take a second away from the tell-all and let me say this. So Lexi actually mentioned to people that she ended up having to go to UCLA hospital while she was on the show. She said she had an ovarian cyst that had burst. God, it's painful. Because due to her having to freeze her eggs 2 weeks before going on the show, that's why it happened. And so my ovaries were so enlarged from all of the hormones that they hadn't come back down yet. She praises the producers on the show for taking good care of her. And she admitted that it was still hard having to deal with her endometriosis in the environment while also traveling often and internationally at that for the show. She said, I wanted to keep it private, but I think it just goes to show it wasn't the perfect ride. I was dealing with this the entire time. She said, I'm just very headstrong and I powered through it. So, yeah, I figured that I would just kind of mention that since we're talking about her, just kind of, to wrap that up. And again, I think Lexine is an incredible person. Um, I don't have endometriosis. I have PCOS that doesn't cause quote unquote pain in this sense, this chronic pain that she describes. I don't have that. I have other things that I deal with. But in the grand scheme of things, dealing with these infertility type, quote unquote infertility, disorders that isn't seen on the outside. It's something that is hidden and is hard to describe what you go through. And at that, sometimes you can feel alone in it. Even if you have a partner, sometimes you can feel alone in it because they may not understand or whatever. But there are men out there. I have one. There are men out there who are understanding as to what you go through and understand that just because we're dealing with this thing that there isn't necessarily a cure for that can make things very difficult to even get pregnant. It doesn't mean that they are going to turn their back on you. They're going to be understanding. There are so many things. She's, I think been a huge encouragement to women all around. The fact that she's done it, she did this egg retrieval when she did is incredible. It's something again that I have thought of doing, not yet, but something I've definitely thought of. Like I have my own journey that I'm going through, and she's an incredible person. I think we needed someone with this representation because things like endometriosis, PCOS, are things that are not being discussed enough. And I mean, I think with PCOS, we're doing better. There's still work that needs to be done, but at least it's being discussed a lot more. It isn't something that when you tell somebody, it's not like when I first was diagnosed with that at 18, that when you told someone you had this, that they didn't know what it was. There are still people who don't when you tell them what it is. They still don't know what it is. But there's a lot more now that know when you say PCOS and know what it is. Endometriosis is something I think has always been something I've known about that you know exists, but it's not being discussed enough. So I love that Lexi is out here discussing this and is saying, it might be really difficult, but it's possible. And I love her for it. And yeah, so there's that with Lexi. I wish her all the best. I really do. I don't know if we'll see her again, honestly. Maybe she's the one running a Bachelorette. I don't know. But yeah, I think maybe we could do another double Bachelorette like we did with Rachel and Gabby. Who knows? Anyways, there's that. So let's move on to the next person who's on the hot seat, and that is Jen. Which I actually need to say this. Why was Jen on the hot seat? Because yes, she had this issue, or not so much issue, this fear of him meeting her family. That's not enough to have her on the hot seat. But anyways, she's on the hot seat. She says she would have loved having him meet her mom. She does say that she's just nervous because of, the adult relationship that she has with her mom is weird. It's strained, but things are a lot better now. She says, she's very supportive. So, there's not a lot really to say here, which is why I'm still confused why she was here. But anyways, let's move on to Maria is now next on the hot seat. And she kind of describes Joey as a friend that you want to make out with. She felt like she was falling in love with him in Montreal. She says like trust was very important to her, and the fact that he trusted her after the whole situation between her and Cindy really helped things, and Montreal has kind of helped kickstart that in the right direction. They had a great date. She does say, she does confirm that Dad does have a hit on Joey. Kidding. But Maria doesn't know why Cindy didn't like her. Cindy says that, the whole thing was hard or whatever. She said, I'm annoying. I know that. Yeah. And she's like, I can see it. And she said, I'm sorry for my part in this. And Maria says, I can get heated when it comes to someone, attacking my character. She can go on the attack, which I definitely understand that. But she does say, though, the hate that you're getting, Cindy, has crossed the line, which it has. And I've talked about it before in a previous episode. Coming after somebody and giving them death threats because of a fucking show is ridiculous. The best thing you can say to somebody when they act like Cindy is say, I hope you watch the show back and you'll learn something. That gets across more than you throwing death threats at somebody who you don't know, all because of a show. Like, it's disgusting, and that's not okay. And she also says to Leia, the same goes for you. I don't like this hate that you're all getting. She's like, I didn't want any of this. I just wanted us to be good. And Leia says, I'm sorry. I never got to know you outside of the conflict. I wish that I did. And she says, I watched that girl on TV and I say, I really like her. And I don't even know her. That is probably one of the best things that I think I've heard Leia say in a long time, because it's true. It's true. But Maria says, I just want to make up. And she gets up. Both Cindy and Leia both get up too, and they all hug. So maybe it's squashed. Maybe we can get past this and everyone can be friends, because at the end of the day, women should be standing by women. We should not be attacking women the way that we do. And over a guy, come on. So I loved this. I thought this was great. So yeah. Now we're at that point where we're going to find out what happens with Kelsey. So we see Kelsey is coming, and they in his room, they're talking. And she tells him that, the days in between, not seeing you, it's really hard. I just really missed you. She tells him that I thought I should tell you that I really want to meet your family. Y'all, when Joe hears her say that, like when it comes to the point where she says, I really missed you and I wanted to see you, it's the weight that falls off of him in that moment, you can tell was just crushing him. And honestly, I hate to use the term weight off of his shoulders because it's not off of his shoulders. It's still crushing him. And I'm going to get to my issues here in a minute with all of this, but he's like, I still can't get out of how I'm feeling. Even though she's telling me she's obviously here, she's saying he can't bounce back from what she wrote on the card, right? And he tells her that I had the fear come up, my number one fear is someone not picking me, and reading that card and what you said in it, it freaked him out. She says in the moment that he, looks like he kind of wants to cry, that he's unhappy to see her, and she wants him to be excited to see her. She said, maybe I should have wrote something different on the card or something. here's what I'm going to say. I understand like she missed him and she wanted to see him. I totally get it. But you wrote, I need to talk to you, or we need to talk or something. That's anytime someone hears that, that's literally thinking, oh, you're breaking up with me. Like, you're not in, like, sometimes I'll say to my boyfriend, oh, like, we need to talk about some things or whatever. He knows I'm not breaking up with him. Usually it's just, we need to just talk out things we need to talk out. Whether it be this where we're need to go in our relationship or whatever. Nothing bad. But that's kind of where we're at, you know? They're not there yet. So her saying that to him in this process where women have chosen to leave or have told him they want to leave, he's freaking out. So this was not a good choice to say those words and then kind of saying that, you know, you just want to be excited to see you. This isn't it. The man looked like he wanted to throw up. He was so distraught and could not bounce back from it. And I felt really horrible for him. That was not a good choice, Kelsey. Not a great choice to tell him in this way on this card, you know? I didn't like it. Anyways, now we're also going to now see the rose ceremony. And whoever isn't picked will be on stage as well. I do want to say that I actually really liked Kelsey's dress. I didn't like Daisy's. I like the color, but I didn't like the dress. But let's get into it. So, the first rose that he hands out is to Daisy. And we're left between Kelsey and Rachel. And he gives the second rose to Kelsey, which I think is no surprise to anybody. I think I did mention that I feel like his relationship with Rachel is very different. I'm actually surprised he gave the rose to Rachel over Maria. But I think with Maria, it was just because of if she didn't say to him, I want to leave here when they were in Jasper, Rachel would have been the one sent home, I think. So yeah, I've said that. I knew Rachel was probably going home for a while now. I just didn't see the same connection with Rachel that he does with Daisy and Kelsey and Maria at that point, and to be honest. So I just didn't see it. So I'm not surprised. Rachel is here to talk about what happened. And Joey kind of just tells her though before we get to that point that he just wants her to be okay. He really does want that for her. And he says also he does want her in his life. It's not romantically, but he does definitely want her in his life. And we'll see. So we're back in studio and she does say that she felt like she was bringing her walls down, but maybe she should have brought them down sooner. But, you know, she did open up and she's proud of that. And, you know, Susan does say to her as well that I am so proud of you because that is who she spoke with before the fantasy suite. And she says to her that she's also very strong. So, yeah. Now we have Joey here and he's going to be talking to Rachel first. And Rachel tells him, you know, seeing you cry was great. It was perfect. It was good to know that you were sad to see me go. And he tells her that he does care for her so much. And she says, you know, you take the romance out of it. Their friendship was solid, which is, that's exactly it. I saw them as friends, not romantic partners. That's exactly it. So Rachel says that, you know, after the hometown date aired, Rachel started getting some hate from people. It kind of came out of nowhere. And this is horrible. And I'm going to tell you all right now, I was crying. I was losing it because like this is horrible to say to somebody. But she says that, she's getting racial slurs. And it felt like she was getting that all because of she got a rose. And honestly, I think people maybe got upset because she was picked over Maria, which I can understand being confused, because I was confused too. I understand being confused that Maria didn't get a rose that day, but that does not give you the fucking right to come at somebody, a person of color, and use her color to attack her. That is wrong. That is disgusting, and shame on everybody who's doing that to her. Honestly, they're probably not listening to this podcast, but shame on you. So yeah, so she was getting that. She said people were hacking her accounts because they were private messaging her. She doesn't understand why this is happening, and she's obviously very emotional. She says, people are making TikToks of them throwing up whenever her and Joey would kiss each other. So because she's a biracial woman, you're doing this? Because she's a black woman, you're doing this? Are you kidding me? So was Charity getting any hate like that? Because I'm curious, actually, I'm actually a serious question here. Was Charity getting hate for that when she was kissing Zach? When she was kissing Joey? Or any other person who was Caucasian or not black on her season? Like, obviously, ultimately, she picked Don. That's what we all wanted. That's what I wanted. But is that this, like, was she getting that kind of hate? Or was Rachel getting this kind of hate because she was the first, let me say this, the only black woman left, woman of color left on the show? Or was this hate because she was, again, picked over Maria? And that is incorrect. That is wrong. I don't understand how people have so much hatred in their hearts. Again, guys, this is a fucking show. What happens on this show does not directly affect any of us. We're here to watch someone fall in love and find love, and that's great. And once this season is over, we're going to forget it and move on to the next. So why is this hate happening? This is so fucked up and wrong and, like, again, emotional, because we're so past the point of women who are colored being with men who are Caucasian and being looked at as wrong. This shouldn't be happening. Like, again, I'm going to say this too. Does Matt James and Rachel Kirkconnell get the hatred that you're directing in this sense, this kind of hatred directed at them the way that Rachel's getting it? No, probably not. And there's a reason why I use that as an example. Enough's enough. Get over yourself, all of you people who did it. Like I said, shame on you, and they are probably not listening to this podcast anyway, so it's fine. Jesse does then ask all of the women, show of hands, who gets hateful messages, and everyone pretty much raises their hand. And I think a lot of them could be because of their race, because we do have quite a mixed bag of backgrounds in this season, not just Caucasian, but also women just get hate in general because we're women, and sometimes that hatred also comes from other women, not just men. And then you add the fact that that person is then a minority. Like, yeah, double whammy. So Joey talks to his other connections. Kelsey T says that, she did talk to her dad after the show, and he apologized to her, and he's definitely more present in her life. They talk, I think, just every day. I know he talks to Maria too, and, he talks to kind of, ones that were a little closer to, not like Jess or something, but Cindy also does say that to Joey as well, like who you see on camera is who he is off screen too, because as I've mentioned before, he had kind of come to her aid when she was getting a lot of hatred from the show as well. So we then get a video of Daisy impersonating some people, and Rachel as well. Daisy impersonates Kelsey T Furs Daisy Days. And then she impersonates Jen. Everything is so pretty. And Rachel does Joey in the rose ceremony, which I can't obviously do, but it was basically her kind of like his shoulders roll back every time he starts doing the rose ceremony, which is so true. Thought that was funny. And we then see a never before seen clip from Maria's one-on-one date. He says like he hates shopping. He really does. And what does he do to make the time pass? He eats a shit ton of macaroons and drinks some champagne. He's in heaven. Then we get my favorite time of Bachelor seasons ever, and that's bloopers. I wait for this moment. I watch all these shows for tell-alls, let's be real. And the bloopers are my favorite segment of the tell-all and all of the entire season, like I said. So we see you see that the mic pack was in Maria's ass and she literally couldn't get it out. And Joey's like, do you need help? And he's like, I don't know if you're gonna see anything. He's like, well, I'm saying something. So he's in heaven. Joey can't say Minneapolis. Poor guy. He's like Minneapolis, and like some other variations of what he was saying. It's Minneapolis, not that difficult, but yes, that's funny. And then the bra. Remember the bra, guys? The huge ass bra. He skip ropes the bra and he falls. We see a bunch of bugs coming in, bees, and he saw a cockroach, and yeah. And then the final scene of the bloopers is Rachel doing it in the moment, and the lights all go out. She's like, so I guess we're done here. So yeah, that was the bloopers. But then we also get a sneak peek of the finale, guys, and they literally escorted Joey off the stage, and Jesse's like, I didn't want him to stay here. I don't want to re-traumatize him. So we had him leave because usually they stay, which is true. They usually do. And he's like, it's a doozy. Now, here's what I say. I do wonder if we're being frauded here, honestly. But especially because we have this whole narrative throughout the season of him being fearful of someone not picking him. I do wonder if the scene that we see of him taking his jacket off is him just really needing a minute, because that probably was a lot for him to let go of whoever it is that he lets go of. And the scene where we see him going into a car, I think that is merely him going to the destination where the final rose is happening, the proposal is happening. So I don't think, I really truly think these women adore him. Both of them do. So I really don't see one of them not picking him in the end. I really don't. Unless, and here is my theory, because honestly, I don't know who he's gonna pick. I thought it was Maria's. When that didn't happen, I was like, oh, I don't know what to do now. So, I also, my other choice was Daisy, but the connection he has with Kelsey is really strong. I do wonder if he picks Daisy and Daisy says no. That is the only way that I could see this going, if we're going in this direction that they're trying to tell us, is if he picks Daisy and Daisy says no because she's not ready. That's the only way. But here's what we're going to do now before we end off the episode, I told y'all that I've got the polls that I did a little bit ago, so that's been done. I asked everybody, who do you think is going to win Joey's heart? I have 30 votes for this one, so here we go. 26.7% said Daisy. 73.3% said Kelsey A. So the majority goes to her. I got 0 votes on Rachel though. And under of what we just found out from Rachel, that actually makes me really concerned that not even one person voted for Rachel, not even one who, just even one person. But that's who everyone thinks it could be winning Joey's heart at the end of this is Kelsey A. So I guess we'll see how that goes. And then as to who do you think is going to be the next Bachelorette? I'm going to start with the later ones, the ones that didn't get as much of a vote. We have 37 votes with this one. And 27% said Daisy. 5.4% said Kelsey A, probably because y'all think that Daisy's going to win and not Kelsey. And 2.7% said Rachel. 64.9% of y'all said Maria. And I think I agree. I agree with that. I can't imagine it not being her, especially with the love that she gets from Bachelor Nation. I can't picture it any other way. But that is it for Bachelor, the tell-all. With this, you're gonna get this earlier in the morning on Monday. So you'll at least have all of this before the show airs. And we will see who does win Joey's heart at the very least. And I imagine we'll probably also find out who is going to become Bachelorette. And I also suspect we're going to find out who's going to maybe be the next Golden Bachelorette as well. If not now, then we'll probably be waiting until a little later. Trying to remember when we found out about Gary. We knew about Gary for a while before they introduced him. They introduced him on Charity season, but we knew it was him for the longest time. So I imagine we're probably going to find out who the Golden Bachelorette, both Golden Bachelorette is for on the final rose. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm ready to know. But that is it for this episode of The Bachelor. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming. We do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.